Welcome, 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 everybody. Okay, we'll give people another few minutes to enter and then we'll start the show, as they say. Well, we have 94 people that have registered for this. 6 more, and I think we'll set a record. So we even have on our agenda to allow 2 or 3 minutes for latecomers. So we're going to go strictly by the agenda until the first person starts to go over, which is probably going to be the first or second person to speak. Let me ask Michelle, do you have the land acknowledgement handy?
I'm opening it right now.
Okay, good. Do you have it memorized? I guess you don't need it memorized.
No, it's right in front of me.
Okay. Michelle is our vice chair of the North. She's replaced Val, our longtime vice chair of the North, who moved from wherever she was, Mendocino County to Sacramento County, and therefore lost her status on the Mendocino County Central Committee and thereby lost her membership in that county committee and lost her membership in CADEM. So she was no longer eligible to be a vice chair. So it's 5:02 or 2 minutes in, and the first thing we do is our traditional land acknowledgement. So, Michelle, take it away.
Okay, thank you. The CDP Senior Caucus wishes to honor the homeland of the First Nations people of California. The CDP Senior Caucus acknowledges that the land where we live, work, and enjoy is the unceded territory of the first national tribal people since time began. The CDP Senior Caucus wants to offer recognition and respect to counter the doctrine of discovery with the true story of the original tribal people who are here and to support the reconciliation of a government-to-government relationship of these sovereign nations. We are surrounded by their traditional ancestral territory, and we must strive to understand the spiritual knowledge First Nations people carry. Their strong cultural values have enabled First Nations resiliency to survive. Written by Redwood Flower, daughter of ceremonial chief Lumkia, Sherwood Valley Rancheria Band of Pomo.
Okay, thank you very much, Michelle. That's been a tradition of ours as long as I've been in part of this caucus. And I actually have already varied from the agenda because I didn't give you the welcome and I didn't give you the what we're planning on doing for this meeting. The theme of this meeting really is we're going to discuss the basically what we are up to, the senior caucus, and we'll be having a bunch of guests to talk about what the rest of the Democratic Party is up to. For instance, we have representatives from, and let me look to make sure that I'm saying it right, the DNC. We have a representative from the California DNC who isn't here yet, but we do have a backup in case she can't show up. And that is a tradition that we've always had. We've always had a representative from the California DNC to tell us what the DNC is up to from the California point of view. We also have a representative, well, we have 2 representatives from the DNC Senior Council, which is the equivalent of the from basically, we are the CADEM Senior Caucus, and they're kind of the much higher up version of us from the DNC, the Senior Council. And that is some names you might recognize. One of them is Steve, I guess it's Regenstreif, I can't pronounce it, but he is the chair of the Senior Council of the DNC. The other is John Bowser Bauman, who speaks to us quite a bit. Both of them are also the part of the um, Social Security Works. So that's why they're familiar names to us, and we have them speak to us quite a bit. So we'll hear from them in a bit, telling us what they're up to and kind of compare what they do to what we do. Obviously, we do it at a smaller level or shorter level. We're also going to have a guest, Tracy Zeluff, I think is how you pronounce her name, who's going to talk about what CADEM is doing as far as organizing now for what we're going to do to fight Trump and MAGA for the way they're destroying the country. And what they're doing though is they're fighting back by trying to do redistricting to fight what Texas is doing. And in fact, I was in a meeting about that yesterday about this time. And that's going to be quite a fight. And well, she'll tell you all the details. Let's see, what else are we doing? Uh, when we're done with all of that, let's see if I missed anything. Well, the standard reports of what the caucus is doing. After that, we'll have an open forum. We've done that before, and that's always, you know, an interesting thing to do because that's where you take over and tell us what you think we should be doing, and that's where some of our best ideas come from, is you. But I think that pretty much covers what we'll be doing in a superficial way, and then we'll get the non-superficial way of doing it, uh, you know, in real time once we get moving. But right now we need to do some reports. So the first report we need to do is the quorum report, so that we know that if there's anything we need to vote on, and there probably isn't much we need to vote on, if that vote can be official. So for that quorum report, I'm going to ask our secretary, Joe Sislowski, if we have a quorum. So do we have a
We
quorum?
do indeed have achieved our quorum. So
Okay,
we
thank you.
may proceed with votes.
Okay, all right. So you still have 55 seconds to give the report. So thank you for
No one ever gets mad at someone going short.
yeah, that's for sure. The other thing they don't ever get mad at is when we call if people approve of adjourning the meeting. Okay, next up.
Adjournment is always in order under Robert's rules.
Right. Yes, we go strictly by Robert's rules, except for when we don't. So the next thing is we have an agenda, and um, it was in all of the blasts that we sent out. So the question is, do we have um, I assume you've all seen that. Um, do we have a copy of it that we can show? Do you have one available, Joe? That you can do it on share screen?
Unfortunately, I'm using a different computer.
Oh, okay. Did someone say something?
Yes, Stephen O'Leary, I move to approve the agenda.
Okay.
It has been made visible to everybody before the meeting.
Yeah, in fact, it's been on all the blasts. So does anyone object to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so the agenda has been approved, and let's see what's up next. the May 30 minutes, is that available? Joe?
And again, that's also been available on the various blasts.
Okay, so, yeah, in fact, that was a link on the things. So do
Both
I
sides.
hear a motion to approve the minutes from the May 30th meeting, which was the meeting where we elected and re-elected most of the board members? So do I hear a motion to approve those minutes? And if uh, if you're wondering what they were, that was a link on all of the blasts. We did 6 blasts about this meeting. So, and the last 3 or 4 of them had that link. So is there a motion to approve those?
It's
Yeah,
me.
this is Tish. I'll make a motion. to approve.
But you could do a second.
Second,
And
Okay,
I'm sorry, I didn't catch who did the motion.
Tish Leon.
Ah, there you are. Thank you.
D15.
okay. And who did the second?
Lou Lamont.
Okay. Okay, so is there any objection to that motion? Okay, hearing none, that passed. All right, so let's see. That- Yeah, Judith, is there a comment? Okay, I guess not. All right, so the minutes. So if you want to refer to the minutes, out of curiosity, it's in any of the blasts that we sent out about this meeting. The last one went out this morning, I guess. All right, so now we are speaking of someone who's been a treasurer of a whole bunch of organizations. This is the highlight of the meeting to me, and that's the treasurer's report. And Carol Taylor, our treasurer, has that report. So go ahead, Carol. Carol. Oh, Carol, I see you're unmuted. Are you frozen is the question. I
Frozen.
don't see you moving, Carol. That tells me you are probably frozen. Okay, Carol. Carol, I think you might need to log off and log back on, and that looks like exactly what you're doing. All right, well, let's see what's the next thing on the agenda. We can come back to her. Well, do we have, beg pardon, we could skip forward to, because I don't see Rhodesia here. Let me see.
Rhodesia's here.
Who?
I'm
Oh,
here.
you are. I was looking for your name, but you're in alphabetical order. I should have looked under ASM for a
Oh,
member.
no worries. And in
Okay.
fact, I should have changed it. I definitely am here. So
Is the background behind you real, or is that a Zoom
No,
background?
what kind of question is that?
Okay, I won't.
It's a Zoom background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not really sitting in front of the Washington DC Capitol either.
Yeah, this background is about as realistic as it gets. So thank you all. I'm gonna let you lead the way and let me know what questions you have. As a person who is elected to the DNC and also elected to the California State Legislature at the same time, I'm sure you can imagine that it's been crazy busy and like lots of whirlwinds. And so since being elected and starting my tenure here back in January, we started off with wildfires in California, and then we got the new administration sworn in, and they started taking away things. So we started defending that. And now we're dealing with redistricting. So there's been a ton that I've been dealing with. I'm saying all that to say that I have tapped in my colleague, Ms. Carolyn Fowler, to back me up on anything DNC related that maybe I may have missed the mark on, because I've been really focusing, quite honestly, on what we can do to save the state. And so, let me know, Mike, what your process is. Did you have questions for me, or did you want me to just kind of talk, and how much time we got?
Well, let's see what we um thought this might take. Here we go. We said about 12 minutes.
Okay. All right, cool.
12 minutes, 37 seconds. No, yeah, but normally what we do is it's kind of a report of what has been discussed and what's going on within the DNC. In your case, with a little bit of what's going on in the state legislature, and then maybe some questions.
Okay, well, be very brief, and then I'll tap in Ms. Carolyn Fowler, to back me up. I can tell you DNC is very much focused on the same thing that most of us are focused on, which is what we can do to save democracy and flip seats. There's currently a campaign to flip seats in the upcoming midterm elections. I think that's very public. I don't think anyone is surprised by those actions that we are taking in the investments. I can also tell you that coming up next week, there is going to be the summer meeting for the DNC. It's going to be happening in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and the California delegation is going for some executive board positions. We know that we have some really strong leaders in California that have a lot to offer. So, of course, we are backing our team up here from California. And I think we're all also looking at what's happening with redistricting. When we talk about trying to have this program to access these new seats, I think our target at the DNC is like 35 seats. Ms. Carolyn will correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's like 35 seats that we are trying to tackle. When we think about that, and then we think about an authoritarian government where they've essentially said, you know what, we don't really care about democracy. We're going to redistrict to kind of change the numbers. California, I'm very proud to be a member of California State Legislature right now. Well, I'm proud anyway, but we are responding in kind, not to be petty, just to save democracy. And so that's kind of what I've been up to. I can tell you from the state perspective, we've been focusing on affordability, dealing with things like rising costs, particularly regarding utilities and food, which should impact everyone. Myself, I have a bill to reform the Public Utilities Commission because they had the nerve to ask us to raise the rates so they can pay their investors, which does not work for most of us. And most folks are spending more than 50% of their income on rent in California, and homelessness is doubling. So those are the kind of things that personally we're focusing on. I've been advocating for investments in violence prevention, mental health. And then also making sure that we are having a proper response to what's happening at the administration. So here at the state, I serve on 5 committees. I chair the Emergency Management Committee, which is responsible for policies that make sure that we have a plan that we're responsive as well as reactive to natural disasters. That includes fires, that includes floods, and it also has Homeland Security is under this committee as well. So we've had to respond to the immigration issues and make sure that we are educating people on what it means to know your rights in this administration. It's a lot different when people are coming to your job and trying to take you off of your job, and and we don't even know who these folks are. So we've done a lot with that. I'm on the agricultural committee and workforce, where we're making sure that we're responding to keep the ag industry healthy. That's doing things like honeybee health, because we pollinate the crops, and making sure that we're making investments in clean energy, the bioeconomy, and innovation hubs to create more sustainable jobs. We've had some big wins, $8 million for a circular bioeconomy innovation campus. Personally, I also was able to secure money for a family justice center renewal of funds for the 27 family justice centers, which deal with, domestic violence prevention. And like I said, I chair emergency management. I'm on ag, transportation, the audit committee, and the Delta Protection Committee. commission I was appointed to by the Speaker of the Assembly. So those things have kept me really busy, but I have been able to kind of check in on things that are happening in the DNC. And like I said, we have some great leaders running for executive board commissions at the DNC. And I'm going to ask Ms. Carolyn if you can please back me up with more specifics about, other than us flipping seats and fighting back against this authoritarian government. Can you please fill in the gaps for me? I'd greatly appreciate that.
Yes, Assemblywoman, I'd be happy to do that. But I just wanted to point out to the chair, I do believe Congresswoman Waters was on. So do you want to, with the time difference and some of the things, did you want to let her go on, or you want me to
She
continue?
can claim some of my time too,
She has her own time that she claims. Is she there?
Is she
Yep,
there?
I'm muted. Yeah, I'm here. Am I unmuted? I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Greetings.
Well, listen, thank you, Carolyn. I just wanted to make sure that my state party knows that I am absolutely working with our state legislators as we deal with this problem that's already been alluded to about redistricting and reapportionment. I think that is a growing issue in this country because of what Texas has done. Texas decided that it was going to ignore every 10-year reapportionment that is done in this country, and that they were going to do their redistricting. They were going to disregard voting rights. They were going to gerrymander and do whatever they wanted to do in order to literally take away 5 of our Democratic seats and turn them into Republican seats. Now, that is bold, that's in your face, that is absolutely a disrespect for the law and for the practice. And so I am very pleased that Governor Newsom, right away with members of Congress and members of the California State Legislature, got together and decided that we're not going to take this lying down, that we're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to allow them to have their way and put us in danger of not being able to win in the primaries because they have cheated in order to increase their numbers. And so it appears that we have a real consensus with not only our Democratic caucus of Congress, but I believe with the Democratic caucus of the Assembly and the Senate in the state. If not, it's been very close, being worked on to deal with this problem and to confront it and decide that California was going to not only respond to what is being done in Texas, but that we're going to do our own reapportionment and that we can gain 5 seats. If that's the game that they want to play, we can play it too. And so if we gain 5 seats, that will practically ensure that we're able to get the majority in the House of Representatives during the primaries. And so that's the big focus that we're all on at this time, both in the state and, in the country. And it will be dealt with at the DNC, Carolyn, where we will be. But that's what it's all about, whether or not we're going to fight and fight back and let our constituents know not only are we fighting, but we're going to do it in ways that will enjoin everybody. The way that we're doing it in California, we would respect the commissioners, the Citizens Commission that has been voted on to do reapportionment. We would respect the legislature and we will respect the people. And with that, we will include the commissioners. The vote will have to be taken at the state level, and we're going to put it out for the people in California to vote for. So we're not disregarding the Voting Rights Act. We're not gerrymandering. We're going to do it in a way that includes everybody. We're going to do it right, and we're going to win. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
And
Amen.
Mike, if I can wrap up before I take off, thank you so much, Congresswoman, for adding that tidbit. Someone said, "What about the seniors?" in the chat, and I would be remiss to not mention that we are fighting for democracy. This administration
Yes,
is killing
yes,
seniors with their decisions. They are
yes,
taking food out of folks' mouths. They're taking
yes.
housing away from people. And so this is part of what it takes for us to fight for seniors. As the chair of the Emergency Management Committee and on the committees I'm on in the state, I'm watching every day. We have to file lawsuits to make
Yeah.
sure that we can continue to provide the Medi-Cal programs, that we can continue to provide SNAP. There's all of these programs. We have to be able to fight this authoritarian government in order to protect seniors. This is like bare minimum protection, and then we can get back to our regularly scheduled program. So I just want to thank Congresswoman Waters. I want to thank my DNC member, Carolyn Fowler. There's unfortunately, this has been a huge distraction, but I can tell you California has been fighting. Our Attorney General's been filing lawsuits. We stood up a protection fund in order to protect not only the interests of Californians, but of US citizens, because we're bold. When bullies come to us, we stand up and we fight these bullies back. Unfortunately, not every state is doing this. So this is, this is hard work, but I'm proud to be here in this moment as we are trying to stand in the gap and close the gap and make sure that when they're trying to steal the seat, we're trying to protect democracy. So we are fighting for seniors. I know it's not specific policies, and there are some specific policies, but this is the big picture. And thank you guys so much. And thank you for having me here.
Right.
Yeah, and
And thank you. Thank you for
Assemblyman
giving me minutes. Thank
Ransom,
you.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. And Congresswoman Waters, thank you so much. And I'm
Welcome.
going to show you something, and it may not work, but this is a picture that I have on my desk, and I don't think it's working, but let me try something here. Nah, never mind. It's a picture of me from 10 years ago. Anyway, you can see the Capitol building. That's it. Well, never mind. It didn't work. But
Mike,
thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Mike,
Yeah.
can I just share? There's several DNC members here that are doing a lot of great work on this call.
Sure.
So I wanted to just kind of let the members know that California is very well represented. At the at-large committees, he has Hilda Solis, April Verrett, who I know you remember, and Shannon Hunt Scott. Our nominations on well, let me just do it this way. Our executive committee is Andrew Lockman, who's on, and he's rerunning for election of our Western Region chair. That is our leader for the Western Region. It's him, Gary Shea, and Christine Pelosi. Christine is heading up our military families, and she will. I just need to remind people, many of these same caucuses exist. It's a senior council at the DNC, and many of us participate in all these different areas. We're trying to make sure that we support our executives, but we have a lot of appointments from the West. Period. I know whether they're on rules or whether they're on resolutions. I see Deborah Cunningham Skernick, Annalisa Swan. I nominated to be vice chair for the Women's Caucus. I've been busy putting people in place, to be quite honest, that I know are going to do the work. I nominated Alicia Andrews. She's an African American woman from Oklahoma to be chair of the Women's Caucus. We're going to be supporting her and Annalisa to take the leadership there, because we understand the importance of women's issues. The senior council, I know I personally attend, but there's several other members that attend the senior council, because why? We're seniors. There's Derek Devermont is the chair of the Disability Caucus. I serve on there as co-chair for accessibility. I'm just telling you, there's probably not one area that California is not represented. So when you talk about the fight, well, we're in it, and we're in it to win it. So I just wanted to show, I hope I didn't miss anybody else that was on. that's a DNC member. I know that Susie Shannon is still leading the Poverty Council. She's the chair there. And I know she's asked our secretary, Diana Love, to join her to work with her there on the Poverty Council. So when I say California is working on your behalf. And I just wanted the seniors here to know that.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, shall we move on to our treasurer report? Move back to it. And thank you to all the DNC members that are here.
Hi, thank you. Um, I'm just so impressed of the people who have just been on the screen. It's amazing. So my name is Carol Taylor, and right now we have $7,681.52. So that's an increase, of course, from January because of our membership dues. We now have 302 members, dues paying or wavered, and 4 of those are lifetime members, which would be nice to get more. And so the convention costs much less than we thought it would. It kind of rounds out to about $1,200. And in the past, we've had to spend as much as $8,000, which is nuts for the hybrid meeting. So just to say that we can expect to be spending much less money than we've had to in the past. So everybody pay your dues, and the term is from January to December. Thank you.
Okay, if I may add, whether you are a paid member or a wavered fee member, your membership expires on December 31st. So on early January, you'll please renew and you'll be good for all of 2026. Okay, next up, thank you very much, Carol. Next up, we have the, let's see, because we got kind of went out of order here. So we've done the treasurer report. We did the California DNC. Next up, we have, beg pardon? We have the, where did it go? Why don't we do the Social Security report from our former secretary, Howard Eggerman. And Howard is something of an expert of this because he's worked for the Social Security Administration as the, behind a desk and on a phone for I don't know how long. Howard, where are you here? So let's see. No, that's not you. Howard, are you there? Are you here? And if so, unmute yourself. And if you're not here, we may have to skip around a little bit again. Does anyone see him in the participant list? I see a different Howard Summers, but that's not him. Okay, I guess Howard isn't here, but if he comes back, we'll put him on. Let's see. Let's see if Tracy is here.
I'm here.
Okay, all right, Tracy. Some of some of what you're going to talk about, I think, has been covered. You can cover it better probably because you're closer to it. So why don't you take it away? Tracy, let's see. We have you budgeted for. If you're talking now and you're not Tracy, please mute yourself.
I think, yeah, we need to mute somebody else. Can I share the screen? I just have a couple of slides for folks if that's possible.
Yeah, you certainly can. I just need to find you and make you a co-chair. Could you raise your hand maybe, and then I can find you easier. You're electronic. And there you are. There you are. So, yes, here you go. You can now, just about, now you can share your screen.
Okie doke. Hey, everybody. Tracy with the California Democratic Party. I'm actually working on the coordinated campaign. And as we all know, we're in a big moment of pivoting, which I appreciate everyone's eagerness to do so. Can folks see the screen okay? Great. So as our esteemed guests who spoke before me said, we know we're at this moment. Saturday is the official vote, so I will hedge everything I'm about to say with, of course, it depends on the vote of the executive board about this program moving forward or not. But should the board vote yes to endorse the measure, then this will be what we're doing. So we don't have to talk about the whys. We all could spend a lot of time saying why we're doing this crazy thing that we're doing, which will hopefully be beneficial for our state and the world if it passes. And then we have next year's election. But I did want to just touch base on a couple of the core elements of it, that as we're all talking to voters or friends or family or whoever we're talking to, we want to make sure that we are saying to them, because I will tell you, minutes ago when my mail showed up, the campaign being funded by Charles Munger already is doing mailing. Has anybody else gotten a piece of mail from the opposition already? It has the League of Women Voters on it because the California League of Women Voters opposed. And so they're already in people's mailboxes. So we're going to have to very assertively put our message out there so people know what's really at stake here. So we're going to be saying clearly to people, and this is the messaging that is coming out of the statewide campaign being led by the governor's team and lots of other smart folks sitting in the room, that this will help us level the playing field for 2026. We know what's happening with Texas and other states. If we don't do this and they move ahead, there will be almost no way at all that we can possibly take back Congress, which we know is our only lever of power to stop the crazy Trump MAGA agenda. So this is really our way to do that. As was stated before, this is temporary. This would, when 2030 redistricting comes around, we will revert back to what is constitutionally our Citizens Redistricting Commission and all of these things. And as was mentioned as well, we are working as a state to make sure that redistricting by citizens initiative is happening across the country. So we are committed to the right way of redistricting. And we're just in this crazy moment where we have to not be the only ones who aren't fighting fire with fire. We are going to the voters to ask them to accept the new maps and the temporary reset of this. And it's fair and proportional. If none of the Republican states change their district maps, which what's the likelihood of that? But if none of them, our maps will remain as they currently are. So just, again, I know you all know this. I just think all of us need to get this in our head so that we can have these conversations, because the opposition is going to spend $100 million against us. We also aren't really using the term redistricting. We're using Election Rigging Response Act. That is the name of the measure, which I believe will probably be ballot measure 50. I think that's what the governor's been calling it, that its number will be. So I am not going to go through the maps and what it means and who's now going to be where and who's moving or any of those things. But should you want to pore over the maps and see how things are shifting, you can go to the California State Assembly Committee on Elections website if you haven't already done so. And there's a great little interactive map there that you can tool around on and see what there is. Bottom line is, if this measure passes, it will make many of our frontline districts significant, that we, especially the ones we flipped last year, significantly safer, but not all 100%. It will limit the number of safe Republican seats, and it will still leave us with potentially a couple of pickups even after the redistricting. The thing I most want to talk about is, so what is from a field perspective or an organizing perspective, what is our program going to be? And so there are two key elements to the field that I'm going to, again, preface with. We'll have more to say about the vote on Saturday. But our goal at this moment is that we would launch a statewide virtual phone bank starting on September 6th and running 6 days a week through the election with 2 shifts a day. And that we will be having a single mobilize, a single Zoom room, and we're going to direct all volunteers from the clubs, the central committees, our partner organizations. We want the swing lefts and the 50-51s and everybody else who we've been marching and lobbying with to now come in here and help us with direct voter contact. So we want to run the statewide virtual phone bank. We are going to be calling, and again, the targeting is coming out of the statewide campaign, is helping us decide who are the best voters that we both need to call and knock. So we know there'll be some Democrats, we know there'll be some declined to state voters in the universes. There will be 2 of the 12 phone bank shifts that we're doing that are specifically going to be for likely Spanish speaking voters. So we'll pick the folks who get their ballot in Spanish and or from a country of origin outside the US, a Spanish language country. And so we're going to need callers on those 2 specific shifts that are able to do calls bilingually in Spanish or English. So there'll be 2 shifts that are specifically that. If there's a group of folks who say we want to phone in Tagalog, or we want to phone in Farsi, or we want to phone in Korean, we can work with people to use our scale to win dialer and pull the list together for volunteers to be able to call specific other in-language universes. And again, I'll just mention that we are going to have, and it will be launched, should the e-board vote yes, we'll put the Mobilize link up for the phone banks starting on Sunday, and it'll be part of our link tree. The second piece of the program is canvassing, and we're planning to start that on the weekend of September 13th. And I will say there are 3 different ways people can plug in with this. The most way the campuses are going to happen are that clubs, leaders who have a network themselves that can pull it off, central committees, maybe some partner organizations are going to host the walks. We have limited staff capacity at the party, and so we want to canvass all over the state. So we are asking folks to sign up to actually walk, pull together a walk, and we'll help with walk pieces and the training and the scripts and all that, but we will need people to do the recruitment and then the launching and managing of the canvases that they're going to be responsible for. So we'll have a whole sign-up process for people to be able to do that. Would strongly encourage people, if you're in a place where you think you can launch a canvas or multiple canvases in our 2-month window, that you will help sign up for that. We will have some centralized canvases. I'll launch some in Los Angeles. We have one organizer who will do some in Orange County. We have Sue, who's up in the north. She'll do some in her areas. But really, we are largely relying on leadership from our across the party spectrum, our leaders to be the ones who are hosting these canvases. And the third thing people will be able to do is if they want to just walk their own neighborhood, we all know PDI, the mobile app, has the on-the-go feature. We'll have that set up. So people will be able to sign up and say, I want to walk my neighborhood. We'll then get them the login, and they'll be able to just have the PDI mobile app on their phone and be able to walk to our targeted universe in their own neighborhood. So there'll be 3 different ways people can plug into our canvassing effort. Last thing I just be clear about is what we're able to provide to sort of help all this work happen. So when on phone bank, we are using the scale to win dialer, which is much more pleasant for volunteers to be on rather than hand dialing on their phones. We'll have the scripts, they'll be translated. We'll have background information like FAQs that we're working with the campaign on. These phone banks, the 6 days a week, we have volunteer leaders who are going to run each of the shifts, and they will do a training every time. They'll open the Zoom room. They'll, help people with technical issues. So the phone bank program is going to be centralized, and every time somebody signs in, if they already know how to phone it, we'll put them into the phone bank room. If they need training, we'll help them with training. But this is going to be a 6-day-a-week effort that we're very much going to be volunteer staffed and high-level running. I'm imagining as CADEM, we're probably, if we really get some decent numbers turn out, these we'll probably be able to do 1.5 to 2 million dials in this 2-month period. That is the goal. For our Canvas program, PDI is coming out with a new version of the app. So we'll be doing some trainings for folks on it. We will have walk pieces that people are going to be able to order. If they're going to host a canvas, we'll have walk pieces in multiple languages that people can order from us. We'll have the training. We can help people cut lists if they themselves don't have PDI access or need help with that. We also can help make sure people do have, your local club does have PDI access through your county central committee. We'll make sure you know who we're targeting and what the survey question is, so we can all be on the right track of talking to who we need to talk to in a limited amount of time. And then obviously the party is going to have a lot of communications information going out. We have our weekly blueprint, which continues to go out, and we'll be covering a lot of topics and specific talking points and social media items that will be specifically about the special election. We'll be producing things in Spanish and English that people can repost, and ongoing materials for people to access. The one other thing that the party will be doing, and we've done it very successfully the last couple of years, is the election protection work, where we'll have volunteer lawyers on standby ready to help if people are being hassled or not allowed to turn in their ballots, or if ICE shows up at polling locations, those kind of things. We'll have a whole election protection program to make sure that people can vote safely. So I'll pause on the share. And I don't know if, I know there's a lot to throw at you, but people have been doing this for a lot of time. So the tools we have some great high technology tools, but bottom line is we need to talk to a lot of people in a short amount of time. Any questions?
Now, Tracy, I see a question from Christine Pelosi. She was wondering who's writing the scripts.
We did a draft script and we shared it with the governor's team and got the thumbs up. We basically took their messaging off their website, and from the talking points they've sent out, we drafted a script because we're going to do a round of test calls next week with some volunteers. So we're working closely. I mean, the party isn't going off doing its own program. We are at the table with the governor's team and everybody else who's working on this.
Yeah, if anyone has a question, why don't you raise your hand, electronic hand, and we'll take you in order. Yeah,
Hey, Susan.
Unmute yourself, Susan.
Mute, please. This may be a stupid question, but I'm in San Francisco where we rarely canvass for statewide elections because we're deep blue. But my concern is this is an unusual election and many people may not vote. So will canvassing in blue districts be almost as important as red districts?
100%. In a statewide election, any vote of a targeted voter, we probably will not need to go to likely always voting Democrats. We probably won't need to go to. We are going to need to go to the mid-range and the lower propensity Democrats to make sure, just as you're saying, they're voting. So 100% Bay Area and LA are going to be key to winning this. Thank you. Judith?
Thank you so much for taking my question. Is this going to be unmobilized so we can have it set up in terms of so we can organize here in San Diego?
Yes. So the statewide phone bank, we're going to use one Mobilize and ask everybody to share that, because what we don't want, because everybody's going to go to the same Zoom room, and if people show up on a Monday and it's a different Zoom room, so that one's going to be centralized. The walks, what we're asking for is the state party is everybody can make their own Mobilize for whatever canvassing event you want to host. But we ask that you share the Mobilize with us, because what we're going to do is build a statewide calendar so that anybody, they can get in on Mobilize, but also we'll be doing centralized volunteer recruitment and putting it out there. So hopefully we'll be able to steer people into whatever's close to them. Because again, the party itself, the state party isn't really running most of the canvases. So we'll want to know where you're canvassing and when, so we can let other people know they might want to join.
Okay, I need clarification too, because I work along with the governor's team on, and how are you fitting in with the team? I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, our chair is in meetings with the governor and the other folks who are part of the central committee. So we are part of the.
So are they merging? Are they merging, or how is it working? I'm trying to understand if I'm sitting in two different areas. So I'm trying to figure out how can merge this stuff. Yeah.
What the party can do is work through the party's structure to run a volunteer voter contact program. We are totally coordinating with the governor's team about which voters we should be targeting and who's taking which slice of the phone bank pie.
Okay.
So we're coordinating so that we're all not going to the same door, calling the same voter. So we're coordinating in that sense. And so we're organizing our volunteer base to do the work that needs to happen.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I was confused, because I'm going to be working with both. So I need to know how to merge. Thank you so much.
think you're next, Mike.
Okay, yeah, do the talking points include specific actions that the House of Representatives could take if the Democrats controlled it? And that would, I guess it'd be two cases. We have the House and the Senate, or we only have the House. And of course, I think it's urgent that we stop this, the crazy tariff power that he claims. That needs to be stopped. I don't know if controlling the House of Representatives would stop that, but there may be other things, and maybe they could stop it.
I have not seen in the talking points, like the Project 2029 stuff from the Democratic side of this is what we'll build if we're in control of things. I have not seen that. I don't know that that is necessarily part of the messaging specifically on the Yes on 50 campaign. But I hear what you're saying. I know that broadly written or broadly, the Democrats need to be able to paint a positive picture about what would make it, why it would be different if the Democrats have some amount of control again. I don't
Yeah, if we
haven't seen
control
that
the
as
House,
reference.
we're doing all this work so we can control the House. It would be nice
Exactly.
to know what exactly the advantages are of controlling the House. I mean, we could impeach him, among other things, but I don't know if that'd be the top thing we'd want to state. That's
Yeah,
one thing I
we're
know.
Yeah, I'm not the message person, so I can't necessarily answer if that's going to be a part of the message. I think it's really focused on making sure that we don't have leveling the playing field so we have a shot at taking back Congress next year. This isn't really the congressional race. This is the step one towards that. But I'm not the message person, so I can't
But
exactly.
going out to vote, you want to motivate people to vote. Like
Sure.
this really matters. You want to tell them it
100%.
really matters. And so you want to be able to tell them everything that is important about controlling the House of Representatives, I would think.
I think I will tell you in the script that we wrote that we shared with the governor's team, for folks who don't already know or uncertain, we ask what they're particularly worried about or concerned about what's happening with the state and the country right now, and use the issue that they raised to say, we need to stop what's happening. That's been part of it. But again, I'm not the message person, so I don't want to lead us astray here. Hey, Jim.
Hi, Tracy. Good seeing you again. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for taking this up. Do you know if any supporting material is also going to be presented as part of this, like T-shirts, an official website, slogans, things like that, that we can also utilize?
There is already a website that the campaign has, and it's like stoptheelectionrigging.com or something like that. I don't know about collateral like T-shirts and things like that, but there will be graphics and social media posts. There's a whole communications piece of this that's coming out of the campaign, driven by the governor's team. So we will all have that. But there is a website already up, and the messaging that we're using is taken directly from that website.
Great. San Bernardino County is ready to take this on. Thank you.
Great. Brenda?
Hi, Tracy. Thank you for this information. This is very valuable. I can't turn my picture on because I'm hands-free driving.
Okay, well, good. Stay safe.
I do have a question because when I was out canvassing for the presidential election, I was really surprised that even though they were Democrats, they'd heard a lot of, information, disinformation from the Republican side. Do we have, or will we have talking points in relationship to what the Republicans are saying and how they are giving, just not being very forthright in what they're saying? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally. And they're being so disingenuous, as though they really care about the sanctity of lines or redistricting or any of that stuff. I mean, typical Republican stuff on that. We are going to have an FAQ. Again, we're working with the campaign to make sure we're touching on the things that they know we need to say. And I think it'll be an evolving, because as we'll have a fight back around one argument like a whack-a-mole, and then they'll come up with something else that they say, and we need to be able to respond if it comes up. So I think it will be a process that will keep going, but 100% we need to be able to have canvassers and phoners equipped to address the disinformation people are going to get big time. I see in the chat we're asking about lawn signs. I'm pretty positive we're not going to have lawn signs. I'll be happy if we get lit by the 13th myself. That's our goal, is to have walk pieces. Yeah. Yes, so I can say to a couple of things going on in the chat that we are, I'm sorry, Cassandra, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation. My name is Cassandra. I'm actually new to all of this. Could you do me a favor and drop the link to the site that you mentioned in your presentation into the chat so I can see those maps? Thanks so much.
I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't have it on my thing, but I'll look it up while we're still talking, and I promise to get it into the chat for you. Do you mean about looking up the interactive web, the maps? Is that what you're
That's
looking for?
correct.
Okay. I'll look for it in a minute. The last thing I was going to say is that next Wednesday and Thursday, the state party is going to hold 2 emergency campaign meetings. And the idea will be, by that point, the board would have voted. We'll have the mobilize up for the phone banks. We are going to do invite all the clubs, all the central committee leaders, club leaders, central committee leaders, regional directors, partner organizations who are outside of the party, but who are, we're doing the with. We're going to invite their leadership teams as well to come so we can all talk about this. And one of the things we're going to do is ask people in those meetings to sign up to do stuff. So we get a sense of how many walk pieces do we need, who's having, so we can build out the calendar of canvases, really get a feel for what's the scale that we can get to. So those meetings will be happening next Wednesday and Thursday. And if I get it together this evening, I'm going to send the email to the clubs and the RDs and the central committees, inviting them to those meetings. Okay, looks like the end of the questions. I'm going to turn back over to you, Mike. I'm going to go on mute and off video for a minute, and I'm going to look for that link, Cassandra, and put it in the chat.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Tracy. And I was particularly pleased that so many San Diegans, I'm also a San Diegan, were interested. But we have a special motivation because we have Congressman Darrell Issa, who is especially a villain, and I know that the maps would be getting rid of him. So that's what is motivating San Diegans. So
it'd be a flip seat. It would be a fight next year, but at least it's a more real fight. That's for sure.
It would make San Diegans feel so much better. Anyway, so we're looking forward to you putting that link in there, and so we'll be watching the chat for that link. Thank you again. Okay, next up, we have the DNC Senior Council report with Steve, and Steve's going to have to help me pronounce his last name, and Bowser, John Bauman. And guys, unmute and let us know what's going on with the Senior Council, the DNC Senior Council, and what they're doing that maybe we, as a senior caucus, can emulate or should avoid, I guess. So, gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. It's Steve Regenstreif, and I am the chair of the DNC Seniors Council. With me tonight is John Bowser Bauman, who is a vice chair of the Seniors Council and is also chair of the Social Security Works PAC. And we do a lot of work across the country on senior issues with the senior councils that we have in a number of the states, and also on the national senior issues in the Congress. I wanted to focus my remarks on the what we call the big ugly Republican budget bill, what Trump calls his big beautiful bill, and what we call is the big ugly bill. And one of the early commenters talked about what would the Democrats do if they take control of the House. Well, I think one major thing that we will hope they will do, and I think they would do, is to try to repeal a lot of the provisions in the big ugly bill that are harmful to all Americans, particularly older Americans. On July 4th, the big ugly Republican bill became law. It will take healthcare coverage away from 17 million Americans, and it cuts $1 trillion to Medicaid, Medicare, and food stamps. Not one Democrat had voted for the bill, and the Republican budget law particularly harms older Americans. And I think we need to spend the next year kind of educating how bad this bill is to all Americans, but particularly older Americans. It cuts Medicaid long-term care services. Medicaid, as you know, is the largest source of care for long-term care. It cuts $1 trillion for Medicaid, and it will cut healthcare service for 12 million people who are covered by Medicaid. It also cuts safe staffing standards for nursing homes. Nursing homes wouldn't have to meet minimum safety standards. In particular, it includes that we worked very hard for a number of years to insert in legislation to have a registered nurse 24/7 at nursing homes. That every nursing home would have to have a registered nurse there on call 7 days a week, 24 hours. Under the Republican bill, they delayed that for 10 years. It increased costs for low-income seniors, which impacts 12 million low-income seniors. The bill the Republicans passed increases prescription drug costs and expands the drugs exempt from Medicare price negotiation, which was a major issue that we worked on for many, many years. It also strips legal immigrants of their earned Medicare benefits, and it cuts critical food assistance, commonly known as food stamps, by $230 billion. Nearly 5 million adults over age of 60 will lose access to food stamps because of their proposed cuts. Medicare faces across-the-board cuts. It will force cuts in Medicare payments to both doctors and hospitals of $500 billion over the next 10 years. And it cuts to rural and safety net hospitals, community health centers, and other providers. According to the American Healthcare Association, they project that 1 out of 2 nursing homes would have to lay off staff, and 1 out of 4 nursing homes would have to close. I also pulled out some specific numbers on California, which I thought would be of interest to you. It makes health insurance much more expensive for Californians. The bill fails to extend and the enhanced premium tax credits for the Affordable Care Act. For example, a 55-year-old earning nearly $63,000 in California will see their premium costs increase by at least $5,321 on average. The bill will also increase uncompensated care costs. California itself will lose billions and billions of dollars over the next decade. In California, 4 rural hospitals already are at immediate risk of closure before the passage of this bill. And with the Medicaid cuts, I think those 4 hospitals are really in danger of closing rather. There are cuts in food stamps. Some 368,000 people in California are at immediate risk of losing some of their food stamp benefits. Some 30,000 legal immigrants in California will lose their food assistance. In addition, for instance, 1,817 grocery stores and other food stamp retailers in California will face increased risk of financial instability due to decreased business from food stamp recipients. And finally, Medicaid and food stamp cuts will cause the state of California to lose 181,000 jobs. Let me say that again, because it's such a big number. The cuts to Medicaid and food stamps will cost the loss of 181,000 jobs in California. So I do have a fact sheet which outlines the national issues. And what I'm going to do is I will email that to Mike so that he can share that with you and other people in the senior caucus. I'd like to now turn it over to my friend and colleague, John Bowser Bauman, to go further about the work of the Seniors Council. John?
Well, thanks, Steve, and you really laid it out well there. Don't ever accept the argument that the effects of the big ugly bill are going to be delayed because some of the provisions of it are delayed. The effects of it are going to be massive and they're going to be immediate. And a lot of what Steve said applies right away. The ACA premium hikes are going to happen right away. The rural hospital closures are going on right now. Nursing homes are in trouble. Over 50% of long-term care, all inclusive long-term care in America, is paid for by Medicaid. Almost 2/3 of nursing home care specifically is paid for by Medicaid. Most Americans don't know this. We at Social Security Works have done a pretty good job of educating people over these past few years, but what we're facing now is really going to be an apocalypse for nursing homes and for rural hospitals. And don't let anyone try to convince you that because their relative isn't being paid for by Medicaid in their nursing home, it's not going to affect them. Because when that nursing home closes, their relative is going to have to be moved to a different location. So this is going to affect everybody. Long-term care affects virtually every family in America right now. And the big ugly bill is really just that. So yes, couldn't agree more. I was going to say the same thing myself, Steve, that if we're asking about what we're going to do when we take over Congress, yes, we're going to try to repeal provisions of the big ugly bill immediately. We're still going to have an obstacle in the White House, but understand that there are times when, as much as we would like to protect and expand Social Security and protect and expand Medicare and protect and expand Medicaid and fight for lower drug prices, there are times when we have to protect what we have gained so far. And we're in one of those times. The simplest and biggest answer to the question of what are we going to do when we take over Congress, either, oops, hold on. Stop doing that. Either one or both chambers of Congress in 2026 is to stop any further horrible legislation like the big ugly bill from coming down the pike. That is the number one thing. And you guys have heard me speak to you a lot before. I do try to stay focused on what I think is the most important, but I've got something to say to you this time that is more focused and I think more important than anything I've ever said to you before. And yes, I'm here in California with you. So I'm going to be on the front lines of this, and you need to be too. As much as all the senior issues that we're talking about and that we always talk about matter to all of our lives, we need to drop everything that we're doing for the next 2 months plus and make sure that we pass these redistricting lines. Make sure that this ballot measure succeeds. There, as was said earlier, there's literature that's already come out against it. There's going to be more. There's stuff that's going to come from quarters that we will disappoint us and we won't be able to recognize, because there's going to be some feeling among our own compatriots that, oh no, we can't do that. We've already done the right thing, which is to have an independent redistricting commission. When they go low, we go high, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to hear a lot of these kinds of arguments from people who we need to persuade to come out and vote for this ballot measure. And we're going to have to beat back every single one of those arguments. And it's going to take all of us to do it. And it's going to take all of our effort to do it, because we are already living in something akin to Russia. And I know we all know that and we all feel it. So the first thing we've got to do, the greatest power that we have collectively, is going to be to flip one chamber at least of the US Congress. The House is still the easier lift, even with the Texas plan to cheat and to thwart our natural ability to have a great 2018 plus like cycle in 2026. Even with the Texas redistrict, and even with all the other proposed redistricts that Republicans are going to attempt, the House is still the easier lift. The Senate is possible. Steve mentioned that I'm president of Social Security Works PAC. Yes, I work on senior issues and I'm an expert on senior issues and we work on them 24/7, but I'm also an expert on elections. And I've just for perfect example, in 2018, one of the best years we've ever had, I got to 57 different House races on the ground. So I've traveled this entire country, both as a performer, which you know as Bowser from Sha Na Na, and in recent years, just as frequently to accomplish our goals politically. We can have a 2018 plus cycle, and Republicans know it. They're scared, and that's why Texas is happening, and that's why all these other states are going to happen, and that's why we in California are literally the front lines. You know, we are Delphi, the center of the universe in Greek times, where the Oracle of Delphi lived literally in this, what they believe to be the center of the universe. The center of the universe now is California, and we are the cavalry for the entire rest of the United States of America. So last time I spoke to you, we had, I understand, a little snafu with the Zoom, because we were in another location. I was trying to move over to the piano to sing myself out here. Today I can actually do it.
Maybe.
I hope you can hear this okay. It's a song I've sung for quite a few years now, but it always bears repeating. I'm sure you'll catch on and can sing along at home. Good night, Republicans. Well, it's time to go. Good night, Republicans. Well, it's time to go. Don't hate to leave you, but we really must say good night, Republicans. Good night. And that means you, Donald Trump. Good night, Republicans. Good night. And that means you, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. Good night, Republicans. Vote for Democrats, because on every election night, including November 4th, 2025, Democrats have got to be doing this. Because it's never been more important. This is really going to be on us. If anybody has any questions, I'm sure Steve and I will be glad to take them.
Okay, I just have a comment. I was in a meeting last night that was billed as something else, and it was kind of a surprise what the meeting was with just a few CADEM higher ups. And they were saying that their RNC was putting $70 million up to fight this thing. And that they had a donor that was putting up an additional $50 million to fight this this thing, so that whatever we do, they have whatever that is, 130 million is no, 120.
20.
Yes, my arithmetic.
Oh, they know that they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Number one, historically, you would be in trouble in the first midterm of a presidential term. I mean, it's a little weird because it's kind of Trump's second term, but they were going to be in trouble anyway. On top of that, all their policies are wildly unpopular. Nothing that they have done, nothing that they have done is actually popular. They've lost whatever edge they had on immigration. They've lost whatever edge he might have come in with on the economy. They obviously, the big ugly bill is going to hurt a lot of people, and it's going to hurt Republicans and Democrats and independents. So it's on us. We can do this. We can do this work, but we got to drop everything else that's on our agenda right now until this work gets done on November 4th.
Absolutely. And Steve said, he quoted when they go low, we should go high. That's killing us. When they go low, we need to fight is what we need to do.
Unilateral disarmament is never a good idea. Yeah. I do applaud us for being, well ahead of the curve on doing the right thing, which was to have a truly independent redistricting committee. But sadly, you can see in the context of the whole country, it is a form of unilateral disarmament. And right now, what people want out of Democrats, Steve and I will be going to the DNC meeting, next week. And what people want out of Democrats and what we should be doing, whether they want it or not, is fight.
And
so
the next time we have you back, and hopefully the world will be a better place by then, I hope. But we'd like to have you talk about what it is that the senior council does that might be different from what our senior caucus does, and maybe steal some ideas from you.
Yeah, we can summarize that rather quickly too. Steve, you might want to weigh in on this. Okay. We actually, you've had this senior caucus in California for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And when I came in, became a vice chair, Steve was just working on creating seniors councils in states that didn't have them. So the first one, I believe, in that case was Arizona. We were especially trying to focus on the presidential battlegrounds. Believe it or not, a lot of the states didn't have them. So actually, the purpose of the state seniors councils, as we keep increasing the number of them, and we're intending to kind of finish the job. Some states don't have councils and caucuses at all. There are a few that we can still do, but they were meant to mirror the National Seniors Council. So you guys are already kind of ahead of the game in that regard, because you've been a senior caucus for a long time. But we try to do what you are doing on a national level and vice versa, right, Steve?
We'll take credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, we do phone banking. We do a lot of our groups. We prepare letters to the editor that groups can send out to the local newspapers. We do phone scripts. We do fact sheets on Social Security, Medicare, prescription drugs that we send out to the senior councils in the states that they distribute. Like I said, we did a fact sheet now on the big ugly bill that we sent out to all the states that I'll send to you that you can distribute. We do also a lot of work with campaign staff, because a lot of campaign staff, as you know, are younger people, and they don't have a lot of experience working with seniors. And there's some unique things that staff people should know about working with seniors. For example, you can hold meetings during the day, you can hold it during the week. You can use the phone banks. You don't have to use them at night. You can use them at the day. The phone banks that might go down during the day, you can use to call other seniors. So there's a lot of voter work that we do to educate campaigns and campaign staff, a lot of the issue work to educate people. And then, communications, whether it be phone banking, letter writing campaigns. A lot of our groups now do, because there are people who don't like to do phone banking, but will do postcards. So there are more of our groups that do handwritten postcards. So we try to kind of be expansive and collect ideas from all our states on what kind of projects and activities our groups can do. We now have senior councils in most of the state parties that do have caucuses and councils. There are a few that do have caucuses and councils that we still need to organize. For example, we're working now to start a group in Alaska, and we're working to start a group in Washington State that have caucuses and councils. But there are a bunch of states, there's like 20 states that don't have any kind of caucus or council structure. So we've been raising with the new DNC leadership that those states that don't have caucuses or councils, that they ought to encourage them to start them, because there might be people who may not directly want to get involved in politics, but would get involved in Social Security issues or Medicare issues or prescription drug issues, and then use that policy work to get them, hooked into doing political work as well. So with the help of John, because John and I have been working these states to start groups, we've started in the last several years a bunch of groups. We now have caucuses and councils in all the battleground states, and a bunch of others, but there's still a lot more work to do. And if you have any creative ideas on what we should be doing that you've been doing in California, we're always open to hear new things that we can share with other senior leaders, not only on the national level, but with our existing caucuses and councils.
Yeah, maybe we
Bring
should
a lot of
arrange.
policy expertise. We have the other vice chairs besides me from Social Security Works are the chair or president of the Alliance for Retired Americans, of the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare. There are other people in the National Seniors Council who are some of the best policy experts on senior issues that you'll ever find anywhere. I'm looking at something today, and honestly, I wanted to stay focused. I think we've got to do what we've got to do in California.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah,
but
no,
I could have spent.
This is
I
a
could have spent.
priority for sure.
Right. I could have spent my entire time on the details of what this Social Security Administration is doing to hide how long the wait times are to get an appointment and how long the phone calls are to get an appointment. There's just an amazing amount of detail that we're privy to.
Yeah, that's what Howard was going to talk about, but he seems to have disappeared. But maybe sometime in the future we could arrange a multi-state forum to talk about all these things by Zoom or maybe even in person.
What we would really like to do, and Steve, you and I talked about this, and then we never actually ended up doing it, was at the very least begin by having the leaders, the chairs of all of the state seniors councils get together on a Zoom with us, and then we can go from there. And perhaps we can just invite everybody from all the seniors councils to that same Zoom and just have it be a webinar with the state leaders or something like that. We really have excellent leaders all over the place. And Steve, I think you and I put together about 13 more or something like that. It was a lot.
Yeah, a lot. We've started a lot of them, right? And then some that were existing, we helped, expand.
Some we bulked up, right? I'm including those, admittedly, North Carolina, Georgia, ones that existed but weren't really functioning anymore. Anyway, thank you for having us as always. I am your California representative on the DNC the Seniors Council, so I always look to our great state of almost 40 million people first. And I'm really happy right now that we are in this, in presidential elections, we feel like such an afterthought because of the Electoral College. This one's on us, so let's do it.
I see Susan has a question. You want to ask your question, Susan? And then
Yeah,
we'll move on to the next item.
Quickly, it occurred to me, we know seniors vote. Is there a way that we could do seniors calling seniors phone banking? Because we can talk to others of the same age group.
Yeah, and in fact, we have had training for doing calls within the senior caucus.
Perfect.
We're going to try to push the phone banks that were talked about earlier to create something like that. We did that nationally, pretty much exclusively, Steve. We ended up with the national seniors to seniors vote bank, phone bank going into all the battleground states, and it was always seniors to seniors. So we do have to try to. You're on the right track. Seniors are always voters and always volunteers. So as much as it's all in the state of California, it's even more on us.
Some
We don't
seniors
like canvassing.
some seniors who are adverse to phone banking might be willing to call other seniors. Might be more comfortable with that.
For sure, and what was said earlier too is also quite true, that some people who are averse to phone banking haven't yet, especially older people, haven't yet experienced the predictive dialer, where you don't have to sit there and dial 50 million phone numbers, but you just wait.
Newfangled stuff we don't want.
The newfangled stuff.
Yeah, why don't we just continue this and transition into the open forum and then wrap up. So I see Tish Leone has a hand up.
Yes, I was going to say the California Alliance for Retired Americans, CARA, which I know you're all very familiar with that. They do phone banking seniors to seniors, and we're actually going to be discussing our senior vote program. We're going to bring it back to do exactly this, especially for redistricting. So I like the idea about getting all the leaders together, the senior groups, organizations, and really brainstorm on this.
Great.
My go-to, Kara is my go-to. In fact, I'm going to get, if he was privy to this, to what I've said so far, I would get grief from our executive director for not bringing up the dozens of rallies that we just held on Saturday, last Saturday, called Protect Our Checks, in which we partnered with a group called the Hub Project all over the country to celebrate the 90th anniversary of Social Security being signed into law by FDR in 1935, but also to stand outside Social Security offices in these celebratory rallies and say this office has been decimated by Doge. And Social Security is in a different kind of trouble. We could have spent this entire time talking about that. I just chose to stay focused on what I think we have to do. But it's absolutely true that Social Security is under a kind of assault that it has never been under. And Tish, who did I call? I personally went to the rally in Bakersfield, where it was typically 100 degrees.
Yeah, that was, you contact Rob England. He's our new
the first person I called was Rob.
Yes,
of
he
course.
definitely contact Rob, and then he will.
Well, he did it. Rob
probably-
put the rally. He was on vacation, so Yesenia actually.
We have an amazing staff, but definitely get in touch with Rob.
Kara is terrific.
Yeah, thank you for all you do to collaborate with us as well.
Yeah, we love Kara, and well, we should.
Okay, is there anybody else that has anything they want to talk about on?
Can somebody explain, CARA, like what is it and how we can
California
utilize
Alliance for Retired Americans is what it stands for.
Yeah, and we have them speaking at our meetings every now and then.
And they're largely people. They're largely people who came from labor. Which the Alliance for Retired Americans nationally is largely people. And Steve came from labor. Steve was Steve was national director for AFSCME retirees for his entire career, right?
30 years. Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah, that covers it. Okay, anybody else have anything they want to talk about, more or less related? Carol, I see your hands up.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to add that it's the California Alliance. You know, I stress that word to people so it doesn't get confused with other things. It's a very active word. So
I appreciate the call.
largely-
I'm involved in a meeting right now. Could I call you back?
You might want to mute
So much. I
yourself.
appreciate it.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, I try to explain to younger activists, you know, we know how to talk to the supervisors. We can supply our own bullet points. If you don't have them, you know, we're ready. And it kind of surprises them. But we are a resource, you know, that people could use.
Who's the we you're talking about, Carol?
Cara.
Oh,
Cara, right. Some people call it Cara, some people call it Cara. I've asked several times what the proper pronunciation is, and there's no actual answer.
yeah. That's
They're both right.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to pitch in and, you know, mention anything of interest? Okay. Well, in that case, it's not too early to wrap up. Although before we do, I would like to just introduce our officers that are still on the line. So let me go in order. I'm Mike Thaller. I'm the chair. I didn't introduce myself yet, but that's me. I'm from San Diego. Our vice chair of the North is Michelle Hutchins, who you've heard from. Michelle, are you still on board?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Waving.
And Michelle, you want to mention where you're from and what?
I'm from Willits, California, which is in the heart of Mendocino County.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a principal of a middle school.
Yes, and she keeps us straight because we're afraid she's going to put us in the corner.
Exactly.
Okay. And our vice chair central is Dottie Smith. Dottie, can you unmute and just
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the meeting. It's really have been interesting, and I thank you, our former speaker. Thank you so much for the information you shared.
Okay.
And I'm from Fresno, California, the center of the Golden State.
Mm-hmm. And our vice chair of the South is Janine Rome. Are you? Yeah, there you are. So Janine, you want to just mention where you're from, what you do, and all that kind of good stuff?
I'm in Los Angeles. Hi, everyone. We had some great speakers today. So it feels like this was a successful meeting. Thanks to everyone for coming.
Yeah, I think so too. And our secretary that you heard from earlier in the meeting, Joe, are you still around?
I'm still here. Good to see you all. I'm also from Southern California, although I'm on the road a little bit today. I just completed my 2 terms as a commissioner on the California Commission on Aging. And professionally, I run a group called the Center for Healthcare Rights, which runs the Health Insurance Counseling and Advocacy Program, which helps people navigate Medicare, older adults and people with disabilities. So if you ever have any questions, I'm not here in that capacity tonight, but if you ever do have any questions to follow up at the street level, the earlier discussion about the challenges to Medicare for your own personal situation or a community-based organization you work with, or someone you're a caregiver for, or other loved ones, please do search out the Center for Healthcare Rights in LA County and the other HICAPs, as they're called, throughout the state of California.
Okay, excellent. You've heard from our treasurer, Carol. Carol, you want to tell a little bit about yourself, where you are in the state?
Yeah.
But don't be too specific.
Pardon?
I said, don't be too specific of where you are.
Yeah, 191. No, I'm in Sonoma, and I just thought today was so exciting. It was so vibrant, and I didn't see anybody reading from scripts. There was this bam. I'm so glad you could all be here too.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Carol. And we have our communications officer here, Angelica Moyes. Is that how you pronounce it?
It is, yes. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Angelica Moyes. I'm here in Los Angeles, in Echo Park. And I do quite a bit of work with community organizations based in Chinatown, downtown Los Angeles.
Excellent. So I can tell you that our next scheduled meeting will be at the next e-board meeting, which hasn't been scheduled. It will be in the e-board meeting. It will be at the e-board meeting or during the e-board meeting of CADEM. And they haven't scheduled it. It will be either at the very end of November, either right before the week of Thanksgiving or right after the week of Thanksgiving, which might be in December. It will probably be, our meeting will probably be virtual, but the actual e-board meeting will be in person, but they haven't even decided where it will be yet. What we're thinking of doing is having a virtual meeting that week. And those of you who might be attending the in-person meeting, wherever it is, we'll probably try to get together informally during the lunch break on Saturday and just have a casual meeting. We did this once in Los Angeles. It was very nice, very casual. We just kind of got together as friends. We
It was
may have,
nice.
what'd you say, Dottie?
Oh, I just said it was nice.
Yeah, it was very
We
nice.
got together.
And we may have a meeting in between because this is so important, that we
Mhm.
fight the, Republicans and try to get at least one house, the majority of Democrats. What I was thinking is, people have said, why don't we impeach Trump? And my thought is, we impeached him twice. What good did that do? But if we
Exactly.
impeach him and have at least one house, at least the House, then we can also try him and get him kicked out of office. But if we don't have either house, it's of no use. So that's so important. So for that reason, we may have an interim meeting between this meeting and the next e-board meeting.
Excuse me, Diana Love just came in the room.
Who?
Diana Love.
Oh, okay. That's nice. But we're wrapping up. She came in just in time, although I think she was at the beginning of the meeting too. So really, there's nothing more to be said, I think, except to adjourn the meeting unless there's some reason, Diana, you want to say something. Okay, she's not. Yeah, she's
Sorry,
probably.
I wasn't here. I ran away.
Okay, well, I don't blame you. I was tempted myself.
You can't run away. You're the leader.
Well, I
Yeah.
can, yeah, okay.
We're gonna follow behind you if you do run. Okay.
All right. Well, this meeting has been recorded, the video, and we will put it on our YouTube channel. And we'll, even in the blast that we've already sent out about this meeting, it's told you how to get to it. But this is an e-board week, so it may take us a few days to get it up there. But I think it'll be worth looking at again. And there's some other videos up there of other meetings that you may find of interest. So on that note,
Mr. Chair, before you adjourn, just since you did call my name and I wasn't here, let me just take a moment to thank everyone that's on this virtual call to say thank you for all that you do and for lifting your voices, because we cannot let seniors be left behind. They are trying to forget about us like we don't exist. Okay, but they have to remember, none of these young folks would be here if it wasn't for us.
And they wouldn't be here either. Well said.
They would not be here. So, our voices are important. I know that the president is trying to destroy everything in our path, you know, with Social Security and our health care and all that. But our voice is our power. We will continue to speak up and rise up no matter how we get to the polls. We will assist our neighbors because we have to look out for each other. But it's so important that we help each other, help our neighbors. We don't always have to like each other to the fullest, but we can't leave anybody behind because I don't think anyone would leave us behind. So
Yeah.
let's make sure we do for others as we would want them to do for us. So I want to say thank you again for all that you do, and let's win back the House and get some normalcy back in our lives. Please.
Yes,
Okay.
here,
Thank you,
here.
Diana.
Thank
So
you.
well said.
Thank
Okay.
you.
On that note, meeting adjourned, and everyone have a nice evening. That's one of the big advantages of having an early meeting, and we can all get to bed early.
I'll see you at the Children's Caucus. That's next. It's
Oh, yeah, right. And as
Yes.
I always say, you take the Children's Caucus and the Senior Caucus, and we average out to the Middle Age Caucus.
Okay.